This is a really troublesome place that I find us in right now. I join others who were bothered by the language that ultimately came before us. To move from a discussion that was specific to instances of anti-Semitism on campus to this statement of intolerance that essentially says nothing is problematic. And I say this as somebody who's concerned with overall issues of inclusion and campus climate. Speaker Atkins talked about what the legislature did this year in acting on a resolution calling for us to speak on this issue. But when I first was made speaker myself, it was within weeks of horribly racist activities that happened on the San Diego campus. And we spoke out against them. And we didn't apologize for speaking out against them. A few years later, San Jose State, not UC, had a despicable practice of escalating racist activity, culminating in a student not only being locked in his room, but having a bicycle lock put across his neck. And the community spoke out against it. And I commissioned a select committee on campus climate that I think has done work that could be very instructive to the conversations that we've had. But in none of those instances did we walk away from the underlying offensive activity at hand and try to whitewash it into something that it wasn't. And I'm fearful that that's what we've attempted to do here. And we've adopted this concept of tolerance. I'm not one that wants to be tolerated. I think tolerance is an interesting question, and it's very different when you're the one who thinks that others are trying to tolerate you versus being the one who has to do the tolerating. It, in its core, identifies some of us as others and doesn't build on the kind of commonality and equal value that we should all hold. It is bothersome that we've walked so far away. In fact, the language before us, I don't believe even has the word anti-Semitism in it. Now, I have seen actions on a variety of campuses that, by any reasonable person's definition, are anti-Semitic. And that's what motivated folks to bring this conversation to us. I agree with Speaker Atkins that the State Department definition isn't one that lends itself to an academic environment. It does limit academic discourse by conflating criticism with unacceptable activity. We're smarter than that. We can craft a policy that protects academic freedom and free speech, but that condemns and responds to unacceptable activity. When I visit campuses, I try to spend time with students, and I ask to meet with a variety of students. I'll meet with student of color groups and with veterans groups and with LGBT groups, and I've never had administration push back at me, except for when I ask to meet with Jewish student groups. It's the only time that I've asked to meet with a specific group of students where I was met with resistance and was told that in order to organize a meeting for me with organized group of students of a certain type, that I'd have to balance that with another meeting. Now, I'll meet with any group of students that's organized that wants to have a conversation, so I don't have a problem with the other meeting. I have a problem that this is the only time in which I've received resistance and was asked to meet with somebody else so that I can engage in a conversation with Jewish students.